This is the skin of Gabby Gabreski. He's one of the big aces of this plane. And you can see the swastikas there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 4, what's that? 28. Has he got -1, so 27 kills? Did he get 27 kills in this? So he's a full-on ace, Gabby Gabreski. This plane performs really well. Like even at altitude, you look over at the turbo meter and you can see the higher you go, the faster the turbo spins, or whatever it is, turbo supercharger. The higher you go, the faster it spins, which means it's allowing the engine to produce a lot of power. I think it produces its highest amount of power at a high altitude, at the altitude that jumbo jets fly at. So yeah, it's kind of a fat plane, it's kind of big. I've reduced the fuel to 40%. Okay, let's run through some things. First of all, let's have a look here. So this is the tail wheel lock. It's currently locked. I'm going to unlock it so I can turn out of here. Let's turn on the guns. You click this red thing down, and then you flick this switch down. That's the guns. Then you go, so the crosshairs, the crosshairs are working. If they weren't working, you'd have to look down here to the gun sight, which is off, and then switch it to on. I don't know why the gun sight is actually on if it's switched off. That's not supposed to happen. That never happened before. What else? This is the P47D-40. It seems to be the easier one to fly than the other models in terms of not breaking the engine. There's a boost thing there that you'd want to attach to the throttle. I think it's already attached. The boost, there's that black ball back there. The boost is attached to the throttle. So when you advance the throttle, the boost advances, etc., etc. You also got M for mixture and P for propeller. Your major gauge is 2 of them, gear manifold and RPM. If you keep them in the green range, you won't have any problem. You can see that there's a green range here for the RPM there too, up to 2600. The green range for the manifold is what, 44 or something, 42. But I mean, you can operate up at 60 manifold, 60 inches of mercury manifold pressure for a long time. I don't know, 15 minutes or something. I haven't checked that out yet, how long you can operate at max power. Here's the turbo RPM. When you're up at like 15,000 feet, that needle will be somewhere like here, like 10 to 15. So the higher you go, the higher this needle goes, if everything's working properly. And somehow the plane is rolling along. Another thing, let's just work on the brake. Another thing is that when you start off, mostly you'll have to tip the brakes like this to unlock the brakes. It's got a handbrake, so to speak, and you unlock the handbrake just by depressing the brakes once. Another thing is the engine cowl. You can reduce that. You can shut it. It's very subtle. I'm shutting it now. There we go, that's the cowl shut. This thing is like your own personal corporate jet kind of thing. Big aircraft. Before I take off, I'm going to shut the canopy, and I'm also going to check how many players are on the server. 20 minutes left. It's a big aircraft, but it's in proportion, do you know what I mean? 6 players versus 3. Man, just a while ago, there was like 37 players on here. I've never seen so many players on this server. Let's shut the canopy. Could put down flaps, but you don't. You only get one setting of flaps. It's down or it's up. I've also turned off the radio. It was set like that. I just press that button that turns it off, so you don't get the Tom Cruise constantly saying crap that you don't want to hear. Alright, I think we're ready to take off. If the engine starts making a knocking noise, that means there's a problem. But I think we'll be alright. I'm going to reduce the prop just a little bit. And now I'm going to reduce the manifold. Done. Done, done, done. So the prop and the manifold are in continuous mode. This may not be a very long stream. I really just want to show you guys what I've learned about this plane so far. One of the interesting things that's a bit confusing, I haven't fully figured it out yet, is there's 3 different models of this plane at least. There's the P47D-40, and then there's the 30, and then there's another one called the 1 or something. So there's different models of this plane. I find that the 40, I don't have many problems with it. It's probably the latest version of the plane too, whereas the 30 and the other one, sometimes I break the engine on those ones, and I don't know why. People are saying that this plane has an excellent rate of climb. I haven't actually checked out its rate of climb compared to the other planes that we're fighting against on this server. I suspect that the rate of climb of this plane is less than the rate of climb of the BF-109 K4, which is the ultimate version of the BF-109. We've got a plane down there. What could it be? It's probably one of ours returning. Looks like it, but let's have a closer look. Now it's vanished. Now it's vanished. It's a Mosquito. Unfortunately, I'm not with the Luftwaffe today, so I can't shoot it down. And there's no ME-410s in this game, so that's the only other plane that's in Luftwaffe that could look similar to a Mosquito. I sustained an eye injury a few days ago. It was a very scary experience. I haven't streamed really since yesterday night, when I was feeling a bit better. The good news is I've made a near full recovery and I've healed very nicely, and I think I'll be completely healed probably within the next 7 days at least, if not sooner. I've got both eyes open, so that's good. I spent about 4 days with one of my eyes closed. It was a scary experience. So there was no streaming or videos output from me for those 3-4 days. But now I'm back. I'm healed, I'm on the mend, and I'm back. I'm going to be putting out a crypto address for Bitcoin and Dogecoin, and maybe Ethereum or something like that at some point soon. It's on the to-do list, so if you want to tip me, throw me a tip, you can do so with cryptocurrency. You can also check out my GoFundMes. I want to acquire a light aircraft to fly on the channel, to do some adventures, and also to fly aerobatically. And there's a GoFundMe available on the main page of my YouTube channel if you want to help out with that. I've also got a GoFundMe to acquire more DCS modules. This plane that I'm flying right now is a viewer contribution to the channel. This plane was purchased with funds from viewer support via GoFundMe, for example. So if you want to help me to acquire more modules and more terrains for DCS, then check out that GoFundMe. We've got a plane up there, it's very high. There's the base that's always in contention. Who owns it? I don't know, but it's not shooting at me. That's a good sign. Maybe it belongs to us. It does look reminiscent of a whale, doesn't it? And as fat as they are, whales are actually quite streamlined. How's the turbo looking? It's just below 10. Plane over there in the distance. You want to probably have some altitude as a plane there above whatever you're attacking. I can turn with a K4 at altitude with this plane at full power and full RPM. I tried that yesterday. I was able to keep turning in a turn fight with a K4, and if I didn't, I'd already run out of ammo by then, but if I still had some ammo, I definitely would have shot it down. There was no problem turning with a K4 at about twice the altitude that we're at now, like really up there above the clouds at a higher altitude. So yeah, there's every indication this plane in this game, as it should in real life, works really well at high altitude compared to the high performance Luftwaffe planes. So we've got a plane coming in here, lower than me. I might increase power now. %% prop, 100% RPM, 100% engine manifold. What is the plane? Might be one of ours though. Looks like a Spitfire most probably. Let's just do a mock attack to practice. Mustang, perhaps. Yeah, it's a Mustang. And I think it's an AI Mustang, probably. We're not really keeping up with it, are we? Even though we dived on it. Right, what about this plane over here? Just checking the chat, a whopping 2 people watching. Man, this stream has seen better days. It used to be there was at least 20 people watching. Oh well, that's the effect of shadow banning. Should probably start streaming somewhere else. More players on here now. We have 7, the enemy has 5. I can see 2 players over there in a formation. And what is this? Planes ahead, they're both miles away though. I'm almost over to the other side of France by now. Is it worth going full power to try and catch this one? It's fairly close, I think I will. It could be a Mustang though. So I'm going full power. I'm going to try and catch up to this, whatever it is. What does that say? 10,200 feet. Me, this looks like another AI plane, and it looks like a Spitfire. Possibly a K4, but most likely a Spitfire. You can see the stripes on the wings. Quite a stable gun platform, this one. Let's cut the power. Not to take away from his achievement, but keep in mind, I think when Gabby Gabreski and all them were flying and getting their ace flights and stuff, I think they were fighting against like no longer the cream of the crop, the Luftwaffe, like pilots that didn't have very much training at all, and that didn't have any teachers that had any training at all because they were all killed, and they didn't have much fuel and blah blah blah, like 1944, 1945. But from my understanding, by the end of 1943, like the Luftwaffe was in serious trouble on all fronts in terms of men, material, and fuel. You can build it in those big industrialized societies that are fighting in wars. You can easier build a plane than you can train a pilot. Once one pilot dies, you need to effectively grow another one. They have to come of age to be able to fight. They have to become sufficiently adult. Which might be, I don't know what, like how old would they take pilots? Probably, I don't even know, probably not younger than 16, right? Like that glider pilot youths, that looks like a Mustang. But what was the youngest pilot that got strapped into a Luftwaffe aircraft? I think if we're, I think this is going to sound crazy, I think if we're talking about like experimental planes like the Salamander, the HE-162 or something, you know, that plane with a single jet on the top of the fuselage and a bubble canopy and a dry sky undercarriage and a H-tail. I think they had like 16-year-olds flying that plane, even in the test phase, test flying it. Pretty crazy, huh? That's what I think. It was an emergency fighter. I guess that befits the pilots that were flying it were basically like Hitler Youth, like, you know, 16 to 18 years old kind of thing, that have gone from flying gliders to flying a high-performance experimental jet aircraft. Fucking hell, man, how would you be? And if you ejected out of that plane, you'd go straight into the engine was behind the cockpit, so if the engine was running, you'd get sucked into the engine. Even the slipstream would suck you into the engine. So I think they were testing out a ejector seat. That's a Dora. Pretty fast plane, the Dora. No, it's not a Dora, is it? It's a A8. 3 minutes. That's a Dora. It'll be fast. That explosion doesn't mean shit. He's still going to fly forever. He's bailed now, though. Well, he's dropped his canopy at least. Is he going to bail? Yeah, he's bailed. If I could roll, I could show you. I lost him. But yeah, his parachute's there. How fast am I going? Almost 400. Who's on my tail? Let's just say sayonara to you, K4. This plane has probably the most powerful engine, right? Out of all the planes. I think I'm at my velocity never exceed right now. Just under it, almost at 500 miles an hour. The most powerful engine in terms of the thrust that it produces. And if you're in a dive, you don't battle against gravity. So they say it's the fastest accelerating plane in a dive, and I think that's probably the physics behind it. Just that it has, what, 2400 horsepower or something. Like, more, whatever it is, it's more than the other planes. So if you've got all that horsepower at max power helping you to dive, apparently you'll dive faster than the other planes. Well, I escaped pretty nicely from that K4. There he is. There he is. That's not a K4, that's a Dora. So there's two of them here now. I'll chase the Dora, although there'll be a risk of the K4 getting on my tail. Dora being probably the fastest plane in a cruise in this game. There's the K4. Let's cut the power a bit. Whoop, don't black out. Cut the power, cut the power. Let him fly on a bit and then increase the power. Here we go, increase power. I thought that might happen, eh? Like I said. And that's it, that's the end of the stream.